Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unschooling Lifestyle. The following conversation is with Danielle, and she is the founder of Waterworld Micro Expedition, and she creates private ocean learning adventures with a calm, healing, reset rhythm. I was so excited when I saw her message pop in a World Schooling Hub Facebook group because I wanted to share the process of choosing one. Now, since we started homeschooling, we have attended 2 World Schooling Hubs that we have researched, but this is part of the process for me, which is having a conversation with the creator of the hub to find out what is expected, how they operate. I want to know about their story, and I want to know if there's flexibility. When choosing an activity for our family, the one thing that I choose or that I look for is flexibility. I have a fear of commitment. So when I spoke and connected with Danielle through Messenger, we kind of went back and forth a little bit. So we were setting up to have this conversation, and I just asked her if I could record it. So the following conversation that you're about to listen is completely unedited. There are questions that I would ask for myself, for my family. There are some questions that sound more like for an audience. So it's a little bit of both, but it is not edited because I wanted you to have the full experience and as real as it gets, really. So the process for me to choose a World School Hub is slow per se, because it's important for me to gather all of the details before I commit finances, time, energy, all of that. I want to make sure that we are a good match. So this is the first conversation that I would normally have with someone. And then probably if we were more serious or starting to actually plan for it, then there would probably be another conversation. But I love how Danielle shares her journey, which I find it always fascinating to how people got to create this experience, where they're coming from, and what they want to offer for you and your family so you can make the best decision whether this is for you or not. So thank you once again for being here, for your time and energy. At the end of the conversation, you can go to the show notes and have a look at waterworldmicroexpeditions.com for Danielle's website, and you can reach out to her. If you have any questions, please let us know. Send us a comment or an email. We are happy to hear from you. So let's dive in. Change the speaker. Okay, there it is. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I am well as well. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
You look so beachy.
I get that quite often.
Yeah, I love it. That's such a great look to have though. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good though. So thank you so much for, like all the back and forth that we did. I really appreciate you. And obviously, like, I think the understanding around like the boundaries, and I'm like, and me just saying, I honestly was like stuck. I don't even know why, but I really appreciate it. So
I
thank
mean,
you.
I feel like it's important to feel comfortable before you just kind of jump into anything with anybody,
Yes.
especially when it comes to world schooling and the hubs and the different things. Because there's some good things and some bad things, and everybody needs to like find what feels good for them before they
Yes.
start diving into it. So
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of miscommunication and there's a lot of like promises sometimes. And
yes,
it just, I don't know. The other thing that I think about often is that not because you change geographical locations is magically going to fix everything.
yeah,
So I feel like if we leave with some like if there's something going on, like leaving and going to a hub expecting the hub to fix that, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
100%.
different. Yeah. So, but tell me about your hub or whatever, however, whatever you want to start, just tell me, I guess.
It's been an interesting journey. I've actually been so we've been sailing now for just full time 2 years. We've been learning to
Wow.
sail for 4 years. We started on a small 27-foot boat. It actually was kind of interesting because we had no clue how we were even going to get into this whole situation. We traveled with a camper from Oregon over to Florida with the mindset of like, we're going to go learn to sail. We don't know what we're going to do, how it's going to work.
Oh my, that is so amazing. So who, was it both of you, you and your partner that said we both are going to sail, or did someone had like prior experience in sailing, or was it
Nope.
just like a dream, or I
You
mean,
know,
please, I am so invested in this.
so it actually like it was kind of interesting because we've been boaters, but not like sailing. We've actually only had a pontoon boat our whole life,
Okay, okay,
and been
okay.
around like motorboats. And
Okay.
when COVID happened, I really wanted to go back to traveling the world, not just
Yeah.
like traveling in the States. And so I was like,
Okay.
how can we get around the world without like having to take a plane and having to go through all that kind of chaos? And that's when we were like, when we've been together, my husband and I have been together for 18 years now. And when we first
Okay.
met, we had talked about it, but at that time I was not even thinking like, I want to go sail right now. It's not really my interest. And now, like, when that happened, I was like, you know what? Like, what if we went and learned to sail? And then we started sailing the world with our kid, and we got to go, like, travel that way. And my husband was on board, thankfully. And so he started learning by reading books all season while I sold everything in our house. And then so I sold everything, and then we packed up the camper and we left. We went when we got to Florida, we took one sunset tour. And as soon as we took the sunset tour, we were talking to the captain. He got a good grasp of us, and he's like, honestly, you guys seem like you're already pretty knowledgeable. I was not, because I didn't read the books, but my husband did. So it was
Okay,
so
thank
much.
God for the husband.
Yeah.
Yes, kudos to him.
Yeah.
Shout out to him for sure.
Yeah, so the captain's like, just go get a small cheap boat and go learn on it. Well, we bought a cheap boat, one that actually the transmission died 20 minutes after we took
Okay,
off.
what is a cheap boat though? Because I just flew, I work as a flight attendant and I just flew with with a girl. She was super cool, but she said, I'm a boater and she used to work at a boat club. And she was telling me like how the memberships work. And I'm like, that's a lot of money. And then she's like, yeah, boats are expensive. She's like the lesser, like the lowest I want, the lowest amount that the boat that she wanted was $125,000. And I'm like, girl, that's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So what is a cheap boat
I mean, it's really like hard to say because it depends on like what are you also willing to like
to
sacrifice.
do? Okay.
What are the must-haves and the non-must-haves,
Oh,
because
God, that
that's
is so
really,
interesting.
that's going to
Okay.
like decide where your budget lands. Like this boat,
Okay.
we were still living on in my camper on the land, so it was like kind of like just get whatever we could. We bought a $3,000 boat, but it
Okay.
actually because we had to go take it over. We took it over to go do a bottom job on it, and we thought we were just doing a bottom job. Well, then the transmission went out, and we had to like we completely replaced the motor and transmission. That was another
Eh.
that $3,000 boat went to a $20,000 boat by the time we
Oh
had finished
yeah.
the overhaul. And so like that was one thing. We bought this boat a couple years later after we had decided we'd gone through that process, got rid of that one. And we're like, we do want to go full time, but we need these particular things. We want solar, we want a fridge and freezer, we want a couple different things. We want to be able to be
Yeah.
comfortable to live on board.
Yeah.
And this boat I found at a killer steal for like $89,000, and I still added like probably another 15,000 into it. So
Yeah.
that was like me bare minimuming it. And now I'm still sitting here like I wish I would have gotten a little bit more on it or put a little more into like my budget of it.
Mm-hmm.
The next boat that we're actually looking at, yeah, it's more looking like 400,000, 4 to 500,000 is what my goal is at the next one. I
Yeah.
want to try my
Okay.
hand for the next one possibly.
Oh my
So it's
goodness.
just like you have to find what fits you. What's your budget? What are you willing to sacrifice? Do you want a water maker, solar, fridge? Like, how long do you want to live in it? Are you going to live full time? Are you living part time? So there's so many like
I am so
aspect too.
invested in this. I am about to go do deep dive into can I live on a boat? And I'm not sure. I don't know. I
Well,
don't know
so
what that's.
that's actually why also we decided to launch Waterworld because we've been
Okay.
doing this for 2 years and I've met so many travel families. I'm heavily into the world schooling community and I've
Yeah.
been taking a World School Hub Creator course for the last year with Rebecca Wagman. And
Okay.
she's been helping me like kind of gear in like how am I going to put my stuff out there? When am I going to get to this point? And for the last year, I didn't launch it because I thought my boat was too small. And I was just like, I'm not good. It's not good enough. It's not going to be sufficing for people. And just recently, we came back from our US trip and we were coming from Lytton Bay back to San Blas, where we really enjoy.
Okay.
And it was we had some backpackers jump on with us because they asked for a ride, and we were just like, yeah, we'll give you a ride to San Blas. Well, we got to San Blas, and then they're like, okay, well, what do you guys want to do next? Like, do you want to like us to jump off, or can we exchange and figure something out? And we're like, we like you guys, we like your vibe, like we'll keep you on for the week. Like I had space till my dad was actually coming to visit or supposed to,
Okay.
and
Okay. Okay.
so we kept them and we did so much with them. Like they got to go out snorkeling, we took them out like fishing, we took them they got to like go out on the paddleboard. My husband actually taught them how to fillet fish and kill a lobster. Like it was so many different cool learning experiences
Yeah.
between us and them. Like they even they played with my son. One of them taught him how to play the ukulele. They did art
That's
and
so
just all
cool.
kinds of stuff. And it was really such a beautiful experience. And it
Mm-hmm.
made us feel like, why are we holding back? Like, why do we want to wait? Like,
Such a
yeah, we're
great
like,
question.
why not just like make this sacrifice, a little bit of like less space? And we actually I talked to my son and I was like, I will personally, if you give up your room, I'll give you $10 a night. And he just like, game on, like, let's go. And so I finally was just like, okay, we're just going to do it. And we're going to just like launch Waterworld. And so we just actually solidified all of our permits for having people on board. And so
Okay.
we decided we'll be sharing sailing life, marine life, and also I'm also pretty heavy into healing and like different sustainable healthy habits for ourselves and our nervous
Mm-hmm.
system. So the
Yeah.
idea is like, mixing those and also nervous system regulation in nature because out here in
Yeah.
San Blas is so unique. There's no cities. Like it's a bunch of islands. You get your food in from a veggie boat.
Oh,
You're not gonna go
let me look it
like
up in the map. Hold
yeah,
on.
you're
Let
not
me.
gonna like find it as like one of those places where you have the city around you too much. Like you do see different lights at night, but it's nothing like being in the city.
But
And
it's
so,
nothing like that.
nope, it's just a bunch of little islands, and each island is unique. And there's the Gunayala, which is the indigenous out here, and it's just so cool. Like it's such a beautiful place to hang out. And that's and because we really love the water. We love going out and swimming all the time and experiencing coral life. And that was kind of why we were just like, you know what? This is it. And
That is it.
yeah, and there's the thing is, I also know there's nothing like this really in too much in the world schooling community very much.
Yeah, there's
There's
not.
there,
Mm-hmm.
there's nobody who's doing like a lot of the hubs are on land. They do go out in
Yes.
the water, but they're not like on the boat. And there's one sailing thing that I've heard of, but they take teens on, and they take
Yes.
teens and they teach them for like however many months.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when I think it was the girl that sailed from the Netherlands or
Yeah,
someone she sailed. I think they made a documentary on her, and she started a foundation, and then she teaches like teens, like you said, but it is teens, so it's very age restricted
yeah.
for it's not really for families. It's just for the teens to join the program, not anyone else. So,
Yeah. That's
um,
why when we came into this, I knew for one, I have a single child. So for me, trying to find community is always a huge thing.
okay.
And that was kind of a big reason why I was like, I would love to share these experiences with more people. Some of our idols that we had like kind of like inspired us into sailing, sailing La Vagabond, they had a couple kids and they always bring different people on board. They don't usually I haven't seen any kids come on board, but I'm like, man, I would just love
Okay.
bringing families on, like having kids play with kids, teaching the kids like to love the water, to enjoy it, to have like see the marine life and learn a little bit about it and just
That's
like go
so
in that
neat.
aspect. And so that was really like the big, like, this is exactly why we're here. This is what we've been like aligning to for the last 4 years, to
Wow.
create and build. Because I do believe I'm not here just to go and sail and kick back all the time. I do enjoy it, but I really feel like this is such a cool experience for people to see.
Yeah, it really is though.
Yeah. And then also like those who do like there are people I've seen who are starting to like they're teaching people how to do it now and I'm like that's cool. Like I like to teach people, but I also like to just like help inspire them. Like is this like something that you would be interested in? Because if you
That's so interesting though too though because a lot of people go into straight into like teaching how to do X, Y, or Z, but I'm like I actually like the experience of like sharing, sharing the journey, not just like yeah, that's so fascinating though.
yeah. So it's been an interesting journey. I'm really excited about it all and it's been good along the pathway. So
Yeah. So how many your son has gracefully given up his room. So how many people can you take at a time? Because I know when we message, it's not many, right?
no. So we have a front bedroom that it's about a queen size bed. You can probably fit about two comfortably. If you really
Okay.
like, you wanted to fit the like two parents and an itty bitty, you'd probably be squeezing, but you could still make it work. And
Okay.
we have a couch bed out there that we can put down every night, and it'll probably be about the same size, about a queen bed. And we do technically have like another couch if they don't want to sleep on the couch bed together, kind of thing. So we're
Okay.
trying to stick it to four. I have
For
had a few
people.
people who have asked me with a family of five, and I just like let them know. I'm like, it depends on what your capacity for small spaces really comes down to, because that's the other thing too. Is like what it is a tiny living home space. We do have also like the top helm, and like I've had people ask me, they're like, well, what about the eating space? I'm like, we have two different tables, so it works out that we can make it work. Like, and then we'll be out on the water a lot and stuff like that. So it's that's
Okay.
pretty much where I figured I'm like, if we start with small, and do that,
Yeah, then there's just like a learning process and see what works and what doesn't.
yeah.
So, and then how many days do you plan, or what's your starting point for days of people being with you?
I'm telling people a minimum of 3. However, I kind of recommend to people you want to at least give yourself a week. For one, it's a distance to make it out here, because you also like, so when people land at the
At
airport.
Panama, right?
Yeah,
That's
you land in Panama. You probably come to like Panama City. You can either hop on a small plane, but that's going to cost a little bit more, or they have this thing called Lamb Tours, which is like a taxi service, and they'll taxi you from there to the edge of the mainland, and then from the edge of the mainland, you check in with the Goonyala, which is the indigenous out here, and then once that you finish that, they'll bring a panga boat, and that panga boat brings you to our boat. So it's a bit of a mission to get out here, kind of thing. That's why I say I'm
yeah.
like,
So
it's
you're
a
talking
unique.
almost a whole day, right?
Actually, so when they pick you up around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then they bring you in the morning, and then they get you to the boat about 10:30. So it's not a whole day of like getting from the airport. It's more or less you're flying, I guess, and then yeah, whatever that looks like from there.
So if you're flying, if you're coming in, they only pick up in the mornings?
The tour company, yeah, they only pick up in the mornings.
Okay, so there's a potential for people to spend a whole night in Panama City before getting to you. So that's almost like a day and a half. Because so for us, because we went to Belize, we did a world school hub in Belize, and we flew from Detroit to Atlanta, and then the night before, because I knew better, it was around this time of the year, and I knew better about the snowstorms. So we flew into Atlanta the night before, and then the next morning we flew from Atlanta to Belize, and then I took a flight, a small plane from Belize to Hopkins, which is like just like an hour flight, and then from our the hub was in Hopkins, and from the little airport was still a 45-minute drive to the area where our Airbnb was, the location that was closer to the hub. So when we came back, so that was 2 days of travel for us, but when we came back, we did it all in one day. So the 45-minute drive, then the little plane to Belize, Belize to Atlanta, layover for 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, and then Atlanta to Detroit. We did it all in one day. And that was like a whole day of travel. And the kids did fantastic, but it was our longest travel day at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do like that. I think I remember talking to Kristen, but I don't think I ever realized, just like my last trip that I just finished, I did not realize how much transportation and, getting from point A to point B would be. Yes.
That's always the
So,
thing is it's trying to figure out all the pieces because it's like, okay,
mhm.
you got the hub, but now how do I get there? Like
Yep,
those pieces.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So a week, that sounds, I mean, I think that sounds really good though. I know one of, the Belize hub, the kids, we went fishing and, it was, a boat and we went fishing all of that. That is one of the things that they remember the most.
Yeah.
So there's always talk about when we were in Belize, and we went fishing, this was that and this was that. So that's really cool though. What are you just like taking like people together, or are you like blending, or are you doing like a group of two and two, like people that are not that do not know each other?
No, I think right now we're kind of sticking to like, I mean, when the backpackers came, they just happened to be friends that traveled together. It just worked out.
Okay.
Because it's such a small groups, I really want to
Yeah.
stick with like a family at a time kind of thing. I am working on networking with a catamaran who also is open to setting up like retreats and different things like that. So I'm kind of hoping at some point maybe we can set some other thing up to bring a few more families together between
Okay.
my boat and his boat. But it's still in works. So it's just,
Okay. Okay.
but
Okay.
for right now, I figured it works out in this sense because there is also a lot of families out here in San Blas still. So it's not like you're only confined to just that. Like, it's more
Okay.
intimate with just us and them. But then it also, there's a lot of other sailing families around too, which we tend to meet up with a lot of kids and buddy boat around with all the other families so the kids can all play and hang out together as well, which works out
Okay.
really nicely in that sense. So it's not like it's a completely like you're only getting the one family community kind of thing. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just the activities and just, I don't know. It's always something new, I guess, because we have done some things like you said, but it's on land, so it's never, so just finding out what that would look like, it's interesting.
yeah, it's that's why I'm like it is its own unique thing, being the fact that you're like
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay on the boat the like for that however um and realistically we're leaving it also open like in the sense of like if people decide they want to go past the 7 days, if they're like they're really into it and they really like it, we're leaving it open to where people can. There's not really much of like a set like limit to it. Obviously, if they're ending up in the point where they're like, no, I'm done for after the week, like, kind of thing. So yeah, it is it's its own unique thing for sure.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Now, so how are you working the pricing for right now? Is it like what's included and what's not?
So everything, so basically what's included is the stay here. We also are doing the meals, is in the included price.
Okay.
And so but there's only a couple of different activities that I'm like kind of still working on. There's like there's a waterfall hike. If people do want to do it, that is not excluded. It's an extra.
Okay.
And then I am also working with connecting with a guy who works with the Gunayala, and they do like youth empowerment and different like activities with the indigenous.
Okay.
I'm still working to figure those ends out, what those look like. But
Yeah.
everything else is pretty much included as far as this. The flights obviously are not included, and the travel from the airport to the boat is not included.
Okay.
But basically, the meals are included, the stays included, any activities off the boat like fishing, paddle boarding, all that kind of stuff is all included. So.
Okay, that's really cool though. How much is the transport from the airport to the boat?
So round trip, it's
Okay.
150 per person. I don't
Okay.
know if it changes for kids.
Okay.
They might give like a discount, but I'm not really 100% sure about that. So yeah. And then right now, because we just launched, we also decided that we would do a promo for May and June. For every parent that books in May and June, a kid sails for free.
Okay.
So one parent, one kid free. One parent, one kid
One
free.
parent, one kid.
Which will
Yeah.
obviously max to, 4 because we can.
Yeah, you can't have any more. Even, I mean, yes, that sounds good though. What's the pricing for the full week for one parent and
It's $225 per day per parent, and then
okay.
we just did it by days because basically it was.
Oh, because he can change. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay,
So,
I kind of like that because then you have flexibility. You know, what is it for per day?
yeah.
Because some people do charge like like the whole month, X, Y, or Z. But then if you can only go for like 3 weeks, then you have some unused funds. So I kind of like that the
Yeah.
per day option.
Yeah. So we figured it would be a little bit easier because I've had some people who are like, well, what if I only come for like a couple of, a few days? I'm like, well, that it seems a lot easier that way to give people that. So yeah, it's $225 for the adults and $185 for the kids.
Okay.
So
That sounds really good. Okay, I really have to say, I really appreciate that because I tell people all the time. I just did a podcast with someone that handles retreats. And one of the things that I look at, and even in the hubs, when I have committed, is flexibility. Like, I have a fear of commitment. I do have a fear of commitment. And with those World School hubs, they start so early sometimes, the advertising and stuff, and it's like for somewhere in like summer or in like the next year, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to feel next year. Like, it's really hard for me to gauge that. I can't I honestly have no way of knowing how I'm going to feel or what else is going to happen. And sometimes the options once you get closer are very limited. So I have to say I really appreciate that. Yes, thank you so much.
honestly, I think that it's super important to have the flexibility
Yes.
because 100% that's exactly how I like when we started doing all this and we were just kind of like taking it day by day. It's like you don't know. I did try to I'd plan a couple months in advance, and I've met some families they've already planned out their whole year. But it's like not everybody plans out the whole year. Some people go by every couple of months and then
Yes.
how they're
That's
feeling. Okay, where do we want to go next? Where do we want to go next? And so
yeah.
that's why I'm like, I do keep it as flexible as possible. We had like a cutoff at some point for I think it's like 30 days before is what we decided, to full pay in full. So that way, like, we're not getting screwed on that end. And we do have like,
Yeah, I think you need to be, yeah, like it
yeah,
has to be also not stressful for you and
yeah,
try to make it work for you. Yeah, I get it though. Yeah, I really appreciate that though because yeah, I do. I'm definitely just for a couple of months. We did plan our last trip where we just came back was planned before, like the more time I had a lot of time to think about that, but I still messed up. Like I felt like I was still like I'm like what? Like I did not fully plan. So just a few months. So that's my learning lesson here. Just a few months though. So I really like it. I was gonna ask you something else and so 30 days the cutoff. That's good. Oh, is there any season that's better than others for like rough waters, and
So
like
it's kind of a little bit of back and forth. So right now, like honestly, we're starting to hit where the winds are starting to die down a little bit more.
okay, okay.
Earlier in the year, between like December and January, the winds are there, which is not bad. It is actually nice because one, you're getting in the good sailing. Two, you're also getting the free air because we don't have air conditioner. We have a lot of fans, but we have, that. So it does help out, like, especially at night, and it keeps that. But then also, like, there's times, like, where the water clarity is just so much better because the winds are starting to die down, which that's kind of also why I'm excited for May and June because we were here last year in April and then on till almost June, and then it was so nice. Like the water clarity was super beautiful and it was just really good. And a lot of people that I had met, they're like, yeah, in the summertime because it's hurricane season. But however, Panama doesn't really get too much hurricanes. And where we're at, we're kind of on this edge spot where it's like still pretty safe and clear.
Okay.
But it's just like you get really nice days still. It's interesting
Okay.
because we stayed between here and Bocas del Toro, and Bocas gets a lot of rain, but like while Bocas was getting a lot of rain, here in San Blas was not getting as much. And so like
Okay.
it's like you have some off and on, like no matter what, you're going to have some rain, but it's not going to be
Okay.
like an all day thing. It's kind of like one of those things where it's going to rain for maybe so many hours. Every once in a while, I think I've had a full day of like not want of rain all day, but for the most part, still we always still get off the boat because it's still warm. Like,
That
you
is
know, like,
fascinating though.
yeah, so it's still pretty warm, but yeah, like they consider like sailing season, which is when there's a little bit more winds, is like December through like pretty much about this time. And right, we've still had some pretty decent winds, but they're slowing down.
Okay.
Over the last month, it's been slowing down tremendously.
Huh.
And then later in the season, I'd say like between like August to, or no, like September to October, that's when there's a little extra lightning that picks up more. Because
Okay.
of the heat and the hurricane season. Again,
Mm-hmm.
we've never really had a like we haven't seen any hurricanes come through in Panama, and heard of any, but at least not for a very long time. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm like, but a lot of people I've met that stay here year round, and they're like, we love it. Like, we stay here year round because it's just still nice either way. Um, so it's just kind of
Yeah.
like what's your elements and what you're okay with taking on.
Yeah,
But I
definitely. I mean,
definitely
I've
say, yeah, like May, even still up till like July-ish is still a really nice time of year to come. Even still, like, I'd say April, but but we're not going to be here this April. We're actually taking off for a World School Hub right before we fully launch. So,
Oh, okay, okay. That's really cool though.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this sounds really interesting. I think my kids would love it though. So I have to put it out there and, just see. Do you have families right now for when you come back for your first, for when you come back from your own travels?
We have one family that we've
Okay,
been
good.
talking to, and otherwise we're still clear. So that's why actually we decided to put the promo out because I wanted to start sharing it right now so that I could hopefully have enough families coming in by the time that we get back and start to get busy. Because my goal is to not have to go pick up the other charters with like random like people. I'd really like to focus myself into the world schooling charter
Yeah.
and doing that mostly. So yeah.
Okay. That sounds good though. Do you have, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what your offer is for people. Like, this is for you if, X, Y, or Z, if you like water, if you're okay with, some movement and maybe tight spaces. But is there any other things that you would add to like this is for you if, and this is not for you if?
I'd say this is for you if you really love seeing animals in the ocean. Um, yeah, we constantly see so much beautiful animals. I've actually grown to really enjoy. It's funny because I actually have really grown swimming with the nurse sharks. A lot of people get
Okay.
so weird about it sometimes that I'm like, it's so cool. They're like pet dogs though. They're so
Oh,
cute.
that's
They
so
hang out.
sweet.
Um, I would say I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. This is really not for you if you don't like that. Like some days you won't even feel like you're on a boat, but then sometimes you'll feel this slight like little bit of movement regularly. And if you don't really like tight spaces, and obviously if you don't really like water, um, that's pretty much. I mean, if you're not into fishing, because we do also
Yeah.
fish here, um, but otherwise, I'd say otherwise it's a pretty obvious otherwise like
Yeah, yeah, no, I would like to say that it's pretty obvious as well, though, but I just kind of like to ask because I have been on a few boats. I didn't grow up because I grew up in Mexico, so there wasn't really like a lot of water, but my husband grew up, his dad actually lived on a sailboat for I mean, almost 30 years, 20 years. He didn't grow up with his dad, so he would go and visit a few times so that he sailed with his dad to the dry tortugas, I think.
Oh yeah, we did that
So
actually in
oh,
Florida.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he remembers getting seasick. He remembers that, and he remembers how much skill there is into actually sailing a, like having maneuvering a sailboat. Like there's a lot of skill goes into that. And
Yeah.
yeah, so he remembers that. But other than that, we have been to in a pontoon. Then I went to Colombia for a friend's birthday. We did a boat thingy there, and then when we went to Belize as well. Um, but nothing major, but I am equipped with being in tight spaces. I do
Yeah.
say that.
So the
So,
other thing too that we are offering, so in some sense, is so I actually talked to this last family who's coming on board. They're new to it. So I told them, I said, you have two options. I was like, we can either meet you in Linton and you can have a full 8-hour day sailing with us and sail back into the San Blas Islands and get like a full experience of like what a day sail looks like. Or you can meet us here already in San Blas Islands, because when you're here in San Blas, the sailing is nowhere near an 8 hour day. You're getting like 1 to at the most 4 hours if we were to shoot all the way across the islands.
okay.
So it's like most of the hops will be anywhere from an hour, maybe 2 at the most. So it's a little bit
Okay.
easier for people in that sense. But those who are like more ambitious and really want to like get a full like sail day experience, they can meet us in Linton and we can come back with them that way and give them that, or we can bring them back to Linton and go, vice versa, whichever they want to do, kind of thing.
Oh my goodness, full experience. It does sounds like it. Okay, that sounds really fun. But I know because in human design, I am an emotional authority. I have to wait. So I get really excited and then I make decisions in commitments and then it dies down or it's something shifts and stuff. So I do have to wait. But that did sound really good though.
Yeah.
So
And I will mention this.
please.
Everybody gets sick at some point or another. Like I have never it's always like, especially when we've done the day sales, like I did it the last time when we came from Linton back, I got sick. And the other crew, the other backpacker girl got sick as well. We both were the ones sick. Everybody else was fine. Usually my husband's the one who tends to get sick and he was just fine. So it's just like a luck of the draw sometimes of who
Okay.
feels a little nauseous. However, I do carry the non-drowsy, like it's called Bonnie, and it's like a stuff that you like for seasickness. And then I also carry essential oils. Bananas are also really good for seasickness. So I have like, now that I've gained enough time on the
Yeah,
water,
and
I've also,
experience.
yep. And honestly, it's kind of one of those things, especially being a healer, I've just learned sometimes your body is going to have these things come up and you
That's
just
what
have
I
to
was
let it go and release it, and then it will like be all fine.
That's exactly what my thought was. I'm like, isn't that the water's way of saying you need a little bit of help?
Yep.
Like, here you go. Here's, between the water and your body, it's saying you need a little bit of help. So when you say they get seasick, which is like, it's okay. So how does that look like? Does that look like just one time you get sick or like a couple hours you feel dizzy and you're like, okay, I'm
It depends on what you're doing. Like I watched one of the girls, she was reading a book and I told her, so you probably want to stop reading the book. Just stare at the horizon for a while. Just enjoy the nature, because if you're focusing on something else, like reading a book while your like body's in motion like that, it might just get you. Me, sometimes it's just like maybe I ate something that morning and that didn't settle in my stomach before I started like going, and it depends on what the waves are like out there on the water that day. We always try to pick the best days that we can, but sometimes it's just like still like
yeah, I mean,
what
it's
the
just
weather
still,
says and what it actually is.
yeah, Mother Nature still has the upper hand there.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But nobody's
That's
like been sick where it's like long, super long, prolonged. My
super
husband
long term.
has. He's probably had the worst of it sometimes.
I am so impressed with your husband. I hope I get to meet him one day though, because the man like learned from books, gets sick the most, and still is out there like doing it, making it happen. So
Yeah.
I am so happy for him. That's so cool though.
Yeah, he's definitely he's our. It's funny because I tell him I'm like we make the good balance. He's the MacGyver of everything and keeps the boat running, and I'm the one who
Okay.
like shares everything and keeps those other
Yeah,
pieces.
that's so good though. That's such a great partnership. I mean, that's so important though. So, that's so cool though. Is there anything else that you would like to mention or that like you think for us like so I do like to I would like to consider going and um and planning it out for just sharing it with my kids because I know they will say yes and all of that stuff. So just looking at the logistics, is there anything else that you would like to add for me to consider as I make the decision, I guess? Or what do you think?
I think that if the water seems like it's calling, you should definitely answer because it's
Oh my
always a new
gosh.
experience.
Yes, I know, right? I've always said, like, I have a well back here because I consider whales being my spirit animal. Like, I just love them so much, though. And I really love the water. Like, the ocean is my happy place but I also have deep respect for the ocean in the sense of, like, I always say a prayer when I get on the ocean because it's just so big and it can just take you in a second. So I find it to be very humbling.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
honestly, I sit out every day, like waking up in the morning. I get to like spending the time out in the morning, just like looking at everything. And even in the evening time, I sit there and I'm like, this isn't a bad place to call home. This is not a bad place to be exploring and
Yeah.
learning and seeing. And yeah, I'm like, I can completely agree. My love for the ocean has grown. I used to actually be a mountain girl more and
Oh
not
my goodness.
that. So shifting
Okay.
into the ocean was a whole different thing. And I absolutely love it. Like, it's just,
That is so cool though.
yeah.
Now, how old is your son? I know you said, is he 7
He's
or
7. He's been a water baby though his whole life. Like even when we were when we were in Oregon, he was always wanting to be in the water. When he was little, he would be in one of those little like floaty little tube things in
yeah,
the winter time, and my mom would be like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "Because he wants to." I'm like, "I'm
because
not
he
gonna let him
wants
get
to.
hypothermia, but I'll like let him sit in there for 5-10 minutes and then take him out." And
Yeah.
he has absolutely loved and adopted being on the boat. Like when we leave usually after 2 weeks of going back to visit our family, he's like, "Are we going home yet? Can I go back?" Like he likes taking breaks off the boat for a moment, but the moment he like gets out there and then after a little while, he's like he didn't even like watching his
Wow.
fishing stuff because he's like, "I just want to like go back to my boat. I want to go back to the ocean after." So he like will pause
That is
watching.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just once you find the environment that works for you, it's just like it's so hard to leave. And it's just I love that he knows that though. That's so amazing though.
Yeah.
Um,
He's adopted it well, and he one of his passions is becoming like a bigger fisherman, and yeah, he absolutely loves it. He's learned so
that
much
is
too.
so cool. Wow. Yeah, I bet though. It's so fascinating. Okay, let me think if I have any questions. I don't think I do, actually. No. Anything I'm forgetting? Or I know I keep asking you that. I'm like, can you just like uh, but no, I think I'm not forgetting anything though. Just do you have a website or I know the reason how we connected is because you made a post on one of the world schooling hubs, but you do have a website,
We
right?
do have
Or
a website right now for
okay,
it's called waterworldexpeditions.com
okay,
/family expeditions. So I can drop you the link to that as well. So
yeah,
you have
please,
that and you can put that in. So yeah. Or you can
okay.
watch our adventures on Facebook, one or the other.
Okay, that sounds cool. Is that the only and not is that the platform that you post the most? Is it
I,
on Facebook?
I pretty much post between Instagram and Facebook right now. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My question did not come out right though, because I'm trying to get away with, like a lot of people like they post in all the socials, but I actually got off of Instagram. So my question was more along the lines, which is your platform of choice rather than, just on Facebook. So, because I know it takes so much time. Like to me, Instagram was like draining my energy because it wasn't really giving anything back to me in a sense in a good way, right? Like it was just like making me more anxious because I would see like all this. I love books and paper crafts and whatever, and I would see all these beautiful things, and I'm like, well, I want to do them, but I'm like, I don't have time right now or whatever. So it would make me more anxious than help me. So I finally made the decision to leave Instagram altogether. Like, I cancel the account, and then you have 30 days to recover if you want to, but if not, after 30 days, all of your posts are gone. Just like that. Yes, I know. Like, I was
So
like,
you
we
were
are
committing yourself there.
there. What?
I said that was committing yourself there.
Yeah, I was just like, I think I'm done. So, and it's interesting because people ask me as I go on like different podcasts, or I have a couple of events coming up in Michigan here, and they wanted my Instagram to tag me, and I'm like, I'm not on Instagram anymore. And there
Yeah.
was like radio silence. I'm like, oh. You know, it felt like people were like, why? Like, why not? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And I also felt the need to over explain myself to justify my decision to not be on it. So, that was a very long explanation to say, I just wanted to say which one was your platform of choice.
Yeah,
And,
I think that
okay.
it's really whatever everybody feels like, whatever feels good for you. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had Instagram for a while. It hasn't grown. It's actually recently, it's interesting. Just as I fully came into alignment with all of this, and
Yeah.
I've really like honed all this in between my world schooling journey and deciding to do this charter mix. It's been actually starting to pick up a little bit, which is cool. I'm really just kind of letting it ride to see what happens, because I will make my reels there and let it kind of come over to Facebook and like do that. But I like Facebook a lot because I like to jump in a lot of the groups, and that's where I really enjoy that. I have a friend who's trying to get me to jump on her son's crypto talk, which is like the new TikTok kind of thing. And I've been
Oh,
here
what
and there.
is that?
It's like a mix of crypto talk and then like TikTok, that they're mixing them together kind of thing.
Oh, so is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Crypto
it's called
talk?
crypto talk. So
Oh, and is that like the same format of TikTok? Is that
I think they're kind of doing somewhat of the same format, but a little bit different still. Um,
okay?
so they're trying to mix up, but it is a new social media platform, and because it's newer, she's like, you should definitely like get on it now. And I'm like, okay, well, let me know when there's an app to it, because if there's not an app and I have to go in through a browser each time, I'm probably not going to do it. Like,
Yeah. Oh my
you
goodness.
know.
Indeed. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so but yeah, I have a TikTok. I just like I barely do that because that one also kind of same thing. It just hasn't really done much for me, and so I just kind of was like, okay. And I know a lot of people say with Instagram that it has to be perfect and pretty, and I'm like, yeah, it's I am what I
Ah,
am, and I'm just gonna put what I have out there, and if people like it, great. If people don't, that's okay. And if I get
then
a
that's
couple people
okay.
who are
Yeah.
interested, like I kind of put myself in the mindset of don't have attachments to it, because if you have attachments to the
Yeah.
result of it, like then it's the only result that I hope is that I connect with amazing people, and that
Yeah.
when I do see certain things, that it's going to be stuff that feeds my soul. And I feel like because
Oh
I've
my
come
God.
with that mindset and that expectation, I guess, of that, my feed is good, my like vibe of it all feels good, and it's just like, okay, I'll ride it until it is what it is, because I've been doing digital marketing for 9 years, and I've been like growing in it slowly, but at the same time I feel good about it, so I'm not
Yeah. No, that's so important though. I love that because it's like I feel like there's so much, I don't know, there's so much push to like go on this like journey of just like do it fast or do it really good. I'm like, I don't like that.
yeah
Like I have such an aversion to that sometimes that like I refuse to just go in it. Like I just no. But I'm also I am very intentional with the people that I connect with because it's important to me to do that because that is also how I function the best. I think with like, with my people that I know and people that I connect with and, people whose intentions are important. And, it's very different though. So that's why when we connected, I was like a little back and forth, which I think it's important.
yeah
And then the meeting before, you do anything further. So,
Well,
um,
I feel like that's just protecting your peace, realistically, which is
yes,
the best, most important thing, because
at all
as I always said, it
cost.
is intentional. Like, and that's why
Yes.
even like doing this everything has been intentional. Every
Yes.
step that I've taken to getting to this point had an intention behind it, and it still has intention for a bigger impact. And that's kind of why I'm like, I agree with all that you're saying, because this journey of life is, the more intentional we are about it, the better we can regulate ourselves. We can help our kids go farther. We can show other people a new reality of what the world can really be, and
Oh
how
my
just like
goodness.
grow
Yes,
people.
yes, yes. Look at it. It is so important because everything has to be intentional.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, I love it. Can you share a little bit more about your nervous system work? So we talked about the boat, but I know you also share in your messages that you were working on something a little about nervous system, which I am very passionate about because I needed that so much when we transitioned into homeschooling in 2020 and then 2021. I was like a hot mess, like truly a hot mess. And that's when human design came to me and I fell in love with it. And then lately, I've been doing nervous system work for maybe about a year and a half or so. But I love that. And when I talk to people, I'm like, the nervous system, that's like, I don't know. It's so overrated, I think. Like people don't look at it. I know I sure didn't. I was just could not even think about it.
Yeah.
Like, so anyway, so yeah, can you just talk a little bit about that, about what you do with it and what you're planning on?
So I have, coming out into like choosing to do this whole shift has been, like you said, it's a lot. Like there's so much, even whether you're in the just doing the 9 to 5 kind of life, and then even shifting into a travel life is still just as intense in its own different ways, but it's a good intense because you're challenging your brain differently. And you're going to deal with like sometimes maybe a flight messes up or a booking messes up or different things, and so, or like something comes up that you were just not expecting, so your brain's
Yes.
always going, your thoughts are always kind of flowing. And in this journey, when I was really like going through, especially it was actually the first year I was waiting for my house to sell, and
Okay.
we still hadn't sold. I was expecting the market to do something better than it didn't. I also was kind of like, my realtors weren't doing the best job. I ended up being the one selling my house, by the way. But
Mm,
in that process, I had this really deep, like, point where I just like hit rock bottom. My husband and I both, and we were just like, what are we doing? What are we like? What's going through our heads? And that's when I actually took up breath work. And
yeah.
breath work really shifted my mind so much. Like I just dabbled with this one session for like the very first time ever. And it was an hour-long session. When I came out of that session, like it was in my home, like in my camper, I was just doing it by myself. I was so shaken up. Like my body had like so much energy moved, and like just so many things were like, I was sitting there and I'm just like, whoa, what just happened
I
to me?
love
Right? It's
that.
such a huge shift. And it was from that day on that I took on breath work every day. And so I found this guy on YouTube, Breathe with Sandy. And I followed
Okay.
him for last few years. And so I've constantly like been doing breath work, which I absolutely love, which has really helped me regulate myself, bring
Yeah.
back like my energy every time things kind of trip out. And then over the last 8 months, I kept having a friend who kept mentioning for a while about Kundalini yoga.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so about 8 months ago, I finally was like, okay, I'm going to try, like, look it up on YouTube. I started following this other lady who does Kundalini. I've been doing her Kundalini yoga for the last 8 months, and I absolutely love it. And it helped even unlock more as
More.
I'm like
Yeah.
shifting through more things,
Oh, I get
and
goosebumps
finding,
just think. I love it.
finding those alignments. And it like, so as I like have been doing those, I really love sharing them with people. I like helping
Yeah.
them like practice those kinds of things. I'm also really deep into, like I said, the healing modalities. I did massage therapy for years. I also have a water iron. If I don't know if you've heard of the Kangen water, but I got really into the healing mode of helping people just like heal their bodies, regulate themselves, and just like come back to themselves. Like, what does self-love look like? What does taking time and obviously being in nature out here, by the way, you don't need shoes. Like we don't ever
That's so
really,
interesting.
like we
Yes.
don't wear shoes. Like this is kind of one of those places you will never have to wear your shoes if you don't want to.
Wow, that's so different too than what we're
So
used to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you're connecting constantly with the ocean and you're connecting with the land and the
Yeah,
sand and
you're
you're like
grounding.
you're
Mm-hmm.
grounding. And so you're
Yep.
spending that time in nature. You're doing practicing, whether we do like breath work or kundalini. Sometimes I even did like meditation with some of the backpackers that had come on when we had them. So like figuring out what fits and flows for some. If they don't want to do it, they don't have to, but if they want to just sit in nature and just go chill, like that already is a beautiful start to regulating your nervous system.
Yeah.
But like those are a few of the practices that I really enjoy. Obviously, also journaling, but like kind of helping them integrate into those and seeing like these other ways and opportunities of how they can help slow themselves back down and just give themselves that love and care that we all truly need, because most of the time people don't realize that they're trying to care for their kids, their spouses,
Yeah.
everyone else around them, and they forget to care for themselves.
Yeah.
And so that was another big reason why, to me, like bringing this in has really like trying to bring it all in. I'm actually also in the process as well of creating this. It's called the Elevated Family Blueprint, and
Oh,
it
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what you mentioned, I think.
yeah, I'm working it with a friend. We're creating this thing called the World School Liberation, which is helping those families kind of
Mm-hmm.
regulate, helping them understand how we can help them going down the path of sovereignty and just really like pulling themselves back into them. That while they're,
Yeah.
like I said, while they're helping their kids, because it's a journey for all of us. Like it's not just about like I want to take my kids out of school and give them that, but I also want to like
Yep.
learn with them. I want to do these things, which is also I think why I like this style of the hub, because one thing that I'm not as excited always about the hubs that I've heard is a lot of our drop offs, and I'm like, I want to do stuff with my kid. Like I want the adventure to be with them,
Yeah.
and to learn with them. So it's just kind of that's why like it's kind of formed the way that it has for me and like go down this path. So
That is beautiful. I find that to be really important though. So yes, I love about learning, alongside my kids too, because that's the way we get to enjoy different things. Like it's not just about them or just about learning, it's just supposed to be educational. And I'm like, sometimes it's boring. Like it's just not. But the other piece too is about you as a World School Hub. I really like to learn that background on your journey, because when you're calm, like everyone else is calm, and I have seen some, there's like different experiences, I guess. So sometimes the way when I've talked to other people about hubs, it has felt really not the calmest for me, I guess you could say. So it just didn't really feel like a match per se. And I mean, and that's okay, but that's why I find it to be so, so valuable to have these conversations before anything else, and learning as much as we can about each other, because then it will make the experience a lot better. So
yeah.
that is so cool though. I think that's it. Do you have anything else that you want to add for people that maybe want to reach out to you? So what's the easiest way to reach out? Is it through email, through your Facebook?
Yeah, you can reach out to me in Facebook is probably about the easiest. Or if they're inquiring about if they are interested in the Waterworld hubs, there's an application form that kind of just drops information about like, so that we can kind of get a little grasp of them and what they look like, and then we'll reach back out kind of thing. But otherwise, yeah, I'd say Facebook's probably the easiest to get a hold of.
Yeah, that's so cool though. Okay, I will definitely put all of that in the show notes, and yeah, and have it out for people to reach out, but also to experience how the conversation goes between two people that want to kind of meet up and stuff like that though. I don't think I have anything else. I always think of questions towards the end, and I'm like, okay, why, Julieta? But no, I think I'm good though. This is really good. I'm going to share it with my crew and with my people, and I know they're going to say yes at some point. So yeah, so we'll see. So thank you. Let me just go ahead and just stop this real quick.